Esha Krishna Nazawami, podcaster and journalist, joins us from St. Petersburg. Welcome to the program. Taking a look at, first of all, the way that Israel attacked the Gaza Strip, it involved, from what we understand, 40 drones and military aircraft. There's always this disproportionate use of force that Israel uses against the innocent people of the Gaza Strip. Why do you think Israel has carried out its acts of aggression, which involved the assassination of three of the leaders of the Islamic Jihad movement at this point?
Obviously, the first is kind of a retaliation after a hunger striker died about a week ago. It's more to show the Palestinian people that no resistance will be tolerated and that they will go to any extreme lengths. The second thing that people don't realize is that Israel is one of the world's greatest weapons exporters. And in fact, in their weapons expos, they actually show that uh, they actually display their weapons by using it on Palestinians. So there is both economic reason and also a political reason. And of course, the far right party that is in power right now is very in a very precarious position. So in order to shore up their base, they have to show to their base, who are extremely far right, that they are tough on Palestinians and they won't allow for any Palestinian autonomy. So I think those are the combination of reasons.
There was a time when there was an assassination that would take place on resistance leaders, and there was always an ambiguity as to who was responsible for it. Of course, Israel would neither take responsibility nor deny it, but now it comes out even beforehand and forewarned that it will carry out assassination on the resistance leaders. What do you think that this is a result of just this, what have called a fascist candidate who's in power right now, that they feel like they can make an announcement and then carry through with it?
That is one part. And of course, it's the impunity that they have in the world stage, mostly because the US is always 90% of time the sole veto power that vetoes any resolution in the UN Security Council. So they feel they have impunity in the world stage. They also have unbridled support from many elements in the US, not just Jewish people, but from the far right Christian extremists in the US who believe that they need to recreate the promised land in order to bring about Armageddon. Mike Pompeo, the former Secretary of State, has literally said this. So because of this unbridled support, impunity, and also the fascist cabinet, yes, they are more bolder and they have no qualms about carrying out targeted assassination. I mean, these are not targeted assassinations because they hit an entire residential building and killed 13 people, but brazen assassinations.
And give us your thoughts on the way that Israel is reacting basically to some of the internal problems that it has, which many say is going to basically push this cabinet out of power. Um, it's said that Israel wants to take attention away from that by carrying out this particular operation. But at the same time, given that it's facing so many challenges on so many fronts, wouldn't this approach backfire by assassinating senior or leaders of, in this case, the Islamic Jihad?
It depends on what we mean by backfire. Of course, it will bring up increased resistance on the part of Palestine and its allies. So that is definitely something that Israel contends with. But of course, they have such a far right base who really want to grow more settler incursions into the Palestinian area, that they have to kind of take out residential buildings so that in the future these settlers can move into these areas. So that is their grand plan. And of course, it is to shore up their far right base and take away attention away from their immense domestic problems and their very precarious position. And it seems to have worked internally, but again, in the long term, I believe that this will create a stronger resistance from the international community. For the longest time, for example, China has been hands off, but more recently, they've been talking about trying to mediate or negotiate some kind of agreement between the Israeli leadership and Palestinians. And if there is stronger international pressure on the side of China, India, Russia, it might mitigate the unbridled support that they receive from the US, UK side.
Yeah, and a final question. You talk about the international community. Um, when it comes to the international community in Israel, it's never really worked, and only words have transpired. I mean, Israel has carried out what it wants to. The only difference that we see here, again, your thoughts are important on this, is that this particular cabinet is kind of being shunned, even by its ally, the U.S., in some regards, with some of these so-called ministers like Itamar Ben-Gvir. Are we looking at the fact that Israel is somewhat alienated, but yet when it comes to the international community, it's not going to listen to them. It's going to carry through with what it's been doing, even more so with this far-right cabinet.
Well, it's because they don't have any consequences. For example, towards the end of the apartheid rule in South Africa, there were severe sanctions and a boycott and divestment movement. In the US, for example, it's actually illegal. Some people are getting fired for advocating boycott and sanctions. So they have no economic incentive. They have no financial incentive. There is no price to pay in the international community as of now. And hopefully, when the US hegemony lessens, other parties can step up to the plate to increase the cost. So yes, they are kept at arm's length with the US, but unfortunately, where it matters the most with regards to sanctions, with regards to divestment, UN resolutions, actions against these aggressions, they are not facing any consequences as of yet. And so until there is some kind of change in the unipolar world, it is going to be, status quo is unfortunately going to maintain itself with regards to Israel.
Thank you very much for that. We appreciate it. From St. Petersburg, Esha Krishnaswamy, podcaster and journalist. Thank you.